The long-term growth is a measure of the percentage growth a property market has had on average each year for the last 10 years. Note that the long-term growth is the compound growth rate. For example, if a suburb had 63% growth over the last 10 years, the long-term growth is not 6.3%. It actually works out to be 5%. That's 5% each year, or 5% per annum. And this is due to the effect of compounding. Now, the higher the LTG for a suburb is above the long-term national average, which is around 6%, the worse the potential is for immediate capital growth. That's right, that's not a mistake. Higher past growth leads to lower future growth, and vice versa. Long-term, a property market cannot keep performing at a growth rate above the long-term national average. Eventually, prices in the suburb get so high, buyers start thinking it is overpriced. Alternative suburbs appear to be better value for money, and that decreases the demand for the overpriced market and increases demand for the cheaper alternatives. So imagine 100 years ago, oranges were worth 2 cents and apples were worth 1 cent. Now also imagine that over the 100 years, oranges grew at 8% per annum and apples only at 4% per annum. After 100 years, a single orange would cost $44, while an apple would cost around 50 cents. In other words, you could buy 88 apples for the price of a single orange. Now, who in their right mind would buy an orange? Walking into the fruit shop, customers would be disgusted at the outrageous price of oranges and would instead buy apples. That subdued demand for oranges would result in lower growth. The increased demand for apples as an affordable alternative would charge the growth rate of apples. So above average growth can't last forever. Eventually, higher prices dampen demand and therefore growth too. For every year of above average growth that a property market experiences, it will eventually be followed by a year of below average growth. Now, it might not swap around each year or even each decade. It's not certainty, it's just a measure of probability. So the LTG, long-term growth, can be used to protect investors from entering a market that may have just finished a long period of above average growth, and it might be about to enter a long period of below average growth. And this also works in reverse. If a suburb has experienced below average growth for a long time, eventually it will appear to be good value for money compared to other suburbs that have had average or above average growth for the same period. So as a general rule, investors want to enter a property market in which capital growth has been subdued for a long period in the past, coupled with high demand relative to supply, and the LTG is a good indicator of boom potential.